Good evening. So continue from where we stopped. Our last class we did array. We were able to discuss extensively on arrays. We did some collections of array, common array methods, that we see how do we push an object or a particular item inside the array, how do we remove it? How do we add to the first part? How do we remove? How do we add to the last part? How do we remove? How do we know the total number of lists in an array? Talking about length, right? So we're able to do all those, and we're able to also connect array with iteration. So how do we now iterate over this set of items in an array? So bringing them out without the square bracket, trying as much as possible to fish them out. So, and we were able to do talking about the application of all these things, talking about trying as much as possible to gather names of people and store them in an array. And if we want to pick them up, we use for loop or while loop to get them iterated, trying as much as possible to bring them out, iterate over that particular set of array. So today we want to go a little bit higher by talking about objects. So what are objects? So like I said, object is a collection of key value pairs. It's a collection of key value pairs. Objects are collections of key value pairs, where the key are strings or symbols and the values can be of any type. So the key are strings. Please note that where the keys are strings or symbols and the value can be of any type. What does that type means? Any data type. So it can be numbers, it can be strings, it can be Boolean, it can be, just name it, any data type that you feel you want to use it for. Are you with me? So, and
Yes, sir.
yeah. So a very key example is think of an object. So Python, I will also want to refer to Python in this particular case. So this particular object is likened to dictionaries in Python, where we'll have the key, which is the actual word we have in the normal dictionary, and we have the value pair we're talking about, which is the description of that particular key. So if you have your dictionary, you know the way they normally write the dictionary, you have a word, full column, right? Then followed by the description of that particular word or the meaning of that particular word. For example, my name is inside the dictionary, AWE, or, right? If you check or inside dictionary, the all will be bold, right? Followed by a full column. Then we have the description of all, but not aware. Have you? So I can say aware is also in the dictionary, right? So aware AWE will be in followed by a full column. So the AWE there is the key. Then the description of AWE, which is aware, calling it in the Yoruba version, aware, right? So the description of that AWE is called the value. So here, instead of now writing the meaning of the word that we've created, we'll just write a data type that is assigned to that particular key, right? We assign a data type that's going to be assigned to that particular key. So imagine a dictionary having what? The key, which is the actual word, then the value is the description. So that is the essence of an object. So for example, let's see how it goes, right? So let's try and create this certain thing, creating an object. So we can have, say, students. So we can create let say student. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you, sir.
Okay. So we can have say let student equals to, then we now have a curly braces. We have the curly braces. So we have the name, right? The name will be either just the way we said it, right? We will either what? Strings or what? A symbol. So I'm going to have a name, right? Followed by a full column. Then I can have a string to be, I'm sorry, I've been using this name. So that's the name of our student. This is the age. Then the age is number, integer, right? Then is enrolled. So this is trying to give a true or false statement. So this is a Boolean, right? So we can see how this really works. So we can now say, okay, so, and this is also a type of, we graduated from a variable, right, to a list. I said list to array, right? List is the same thing as array in Python, right? This is the same thing as array in Python. So we are talking about list in Python. We're also talking about array. So we graduated from variable that is being assigned to one item to what? A list or an array that we have a variable that is being assigned to numerous items, right? Then to what? An object that now has what? A key value pairs. So which means we can have different things, descriptions of that particular student. So I can say Fatima. So if I say Fatima as a variable, I can now talk about, okay, Fatima, where does Fatima stay? What is our um date of birth? Our state of origin, our favorite food, our favorite color. We can now start describing Fatima, right? So, and that is what object um is all about. That is what object is all about. So we can see the way we've been able to describe a certain student, right? So we can have numerous students inside this particular. So we can also create another one. So once we are done with this, so we just put command and we start with name, age is enrolled, name, age is enrolled, right? So how do we now get it done? Just the way we normally do our normal thing. So we just do our normal console.log, right? We can just do console.log students. And we can also access individual object properties, right? By just say controls.log, then name equals to student.name, right? So we can also do age equals to distance.age property. So if you run this, we will see what this will show us. So the first one that we did showed us, sorry, the first one that we did showed us the entire object, right? Which is this. I'm sure you can see it very well. Then the second console.log that I created, I was trying to assess the individual key pair value. So if I say student.name is show me just Aisha, student.age will show me what? 20. So, and there are different ways of what? Connecting or declaring this particular entity. The first one is the dot notation, and the second one is the bracket notation, all right, which is the square bracket notation. And we use this very well, especially when we're doing array. If you really want to also get into the first index, second index, third index, you use bracket notation. So we can see the difference, right? We have the dot notation and we have the bracket notation. Are we together?
Yes,
So
sir.
yeah, the next thing is because it's a variable, how will I put it? A type of variable that contains numerous items, right? This time around with a little bit description, we should be able to also edit it just the way we have been doing for array. Just the way we did for array, we should be able to also add and change the property. So for example, we can also add to the object. I want to add to this object. So how do I add to it? So I can just come here. I can just come here and just do student
Dot
dot
class.
yeah dot what?
Okay, I said class.
Class, yes. You can say maybe classes. I don't want us to get confused. You know, we will still use class as time goes on. So and I don't want us to get confused. So let's say classes equals um DSS1, or let's say subjects. That would be a little bit better. What did you suggest? Subject will be better. Student dot subject equals to say mathematics. So this is going to be adding a new property to this particular work, right? Then we can now say console.log after adding to this student. So this is what we are going to see initially. So uh, let me comment this out. Initially, this is what we are going to see. So after adding the subject, you will see mathematics at the next one. So let me play. I just click on this play. You will see initially, this is what we have, right? After adding the subject, this is what we are going to have right now. So we'll see we have what? Subject, student.
Um,
Do you understand now? The subject
yes,
will
sir.
be students, right? So that makes more sense. So the next thing is we can also edit. We can edit, for example, Aisha, I'm sure Aisha is more than 20 years. So if I'm going to add a real age, so what I will just do is just do this, just do adding a real age will just be student dot age will now be equals to say 25. I don't know. That might not be a real age. I just used one. Oh, so don't quote me anywhere, oh, please. So this is trying to edit the existing age that we have. So this will change from 20 to 25, right? So we are going to do console.log. Then let's play and let's see what this will give us. So we will see after modifying the age has changed from 20 to 25, right? So this is how to change it, right? And of course, we can also delete. So what do you think we want to delete? So let me delete is enrolled, right? So how do I delete it? Very easy and straightforward. What I will just do is just come here, just do delete, right? Space bar student. So what do I want to delete? Student dot is enrolled, right? So once I'm done with this, then I can now come here and do console.log. After deleting is enrolled, this is what we have. So can you see? After deleting is enrolled, the enroll is enrolled
Yes,
has
sir.
disappeared. Can you see? Is enrolled has disappeared. So this is how we can also edit or even modify, delete, and add to what? An object, right? So, and it is very, very important. Very, very, very important. So another thing is, how do we now iterate over an object? Iterating over object is very, very, very important, right? So, we use, iteration. Is either we use the for loop or a while loop. So basically, if I'm going to get it, I just want to get maybe perhaps the name or the age or any other thing that wants to come into play. So I can just say for into bracket, let key in student. So all these things are keywords. I think we did not discuss about keywords while we started, right? I'm sure I guess you already understand what keywords are. Keywords are you talking to me?
Yes, sir.
So what did you say?
We are already about to explain what keywords are. I wanted to say,
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, I'm
don't know what
listening.
they are.
I'm listening.
I wanted to say, I don't know what they are. Then I said I wanted to explain. That was why I kept quiet.
Okay, okay. So let's talk about keywords, right, itself. So keywords generally are words. Let me put it that way now. They are words that are specifically used in this programming language, right? They are specifically used in this programming language. So they are just like words that we use in achieving some task, right? So those words have been worked upon, right? So once you use them, you are using them to achieve a certain task. So for example, let is a keyword, for is a keyword, while is a keyword. So let me start writing let. These are keywords. And is a keyword. Const is a keyword. And this and it's not a keyword here. It's a keyword in Python, but we use and also here, and this is and. If you want to use and in JavaScript, this is it. If you want to use or in JavaScript, this is it, right? We have var, which is variable, which is very, very is stale now. We don't use it again. We have in, right? These are keywords. We have while, we have true, we have false, right? These are different keywords. We have if, yes, else, yes, function, return, yes. I think global, yes. So we have more, right? But I'm just trying to use, and why am I saying this? Because for this particular iteration I want to work upon, I need to like explain what all these things are, right? And most especially, I don't want us to overthink it. All these keywords are words have exact dictionary meaning here. So their dictionary meaning also applies in this particular place. So for example, I'm talking about in. In just simply means something inside, right? So in also means that thing in here. So what we are trying to do. So for example, if I'm going to explain this particular block of code that I've written here, I said for. Already understand what for is, right? For is to iterate over a certain array, over a certain item. I don't know where that particular thing is, right? Is to iterate over a certain item. And the item here is the student we're talking about, right? The item is the student we're talking about. So it's an object generally. So we are now saying let key, right? So key is just like a normal name, right? We can use any name. So let key in students, right, be equals to this. So we've tried as much as possible to give the entire content in this particular object a name called key, right? So let key, which means we have another variable called key in students, right? So basically, anytime I want to call on object in this particular, anything I want to call an item in this particular object, so I will always refer to it as key. So if I do console.log, right? So it's going to be key, which is what? A string concatenating with full column, then this particular student. So I'm going to have this plus student dot key. So let's see, we can use dots also here, but we are using the bracket notation here. So the result is going to be something like this. Can you see? We've iterated over the entire. So if you want to enjoy it better, let me comment that out. So we'll see the difference. So, oh, sorry. Where is the students? So, students. Okay. You know why it's giving me an error? It's because that is where my cursor is. So if I click it again, I'm sure it should give me the correct answer. Yeah. So initially, if I have not iterated over it, this is what I'm going to have. I will still have it inside what is a curly braces, just the way we have it in array, right? Iteration helps me bring them out of what? Curly braces. Are you getting it?
Yes,
Iteration
sir.
helps me grip things out from calibrate. So please don't be dogmatic in just using key. If you don't use key, it's not going to work. So which means I can also use fat, not fat as in fat. I can use as in fat as in Fatima. So if I do this also, I should be able to get the same answer. So I'm just trying to tell you that we shouldn't. Can you see? So
Yes,
don't
sir.
think it must be key. Right? So we can see that this name is just an arbitrary name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you now understand now?
Yes, sir.
Aha. It's just like an arbitrary name. So you can bring any name. But just make sure that the name you're trying to create here, you're going to use it. So just make sure you've used this name to iterate over the entire object. Do you understand? So which means everything you're bringing out from the object now becomes facts. Maybe I should name it Fatty. Now becomes Fatty. So now becomes Fatty. Right. So if I now do that, it means if I want to call on individual thing, I will always link it to Fatty. And that is that as regards those things. Think your assignment is give me all the keywords inside JavaScript. All keywords inside JavaScript. So please note all these things we are trying to work on, right? Because we are still going to do the application very soon. So we'll start with objects. Objects now. So we are drawing you've done objects. So we want to do object with methods. Object with methods. So now inside objects, we've seen how to create objects. So we have something like this, right? And these things are called attributes. What you've seen here is called attributes, right? And basically, we can have an attribute and we can have methods, right? Methods are just like functions. So objects can also store function. That is where I'm going to now. Array can only store items. So now objects can now store both items and functions. So object can store variables and functions. So variables are likened to what? Attributes, while methods are likened to functions. So in objects, we can say they have both attributes and methods. So if I'm talking about methods, or just know that we are talking about functions. Please, are you getting it? If I'm talking
Yes,
about
sir.
attributes, no, I'm talking about what? function. So, I say
Function.
attribute, method. Sorry, if I'm talking about method,
Attributes. Okay, then I wanted to say attribute are like
yeah,
into
variable.
variable.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, if
Yeah.
I'm talking about method, the method that black. If you see developers talking, that method is not working well. Can you just be like, what in the method by which one is method again? I know be this same coding with the learn together. But they are saying something that you already know. But because they are using the trade name and you are not used to that trade name, then you feel confused. If they had mentioned function, be like, I know function now. Oh yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. But inside of you, once you understand method is also called function. So you already understand. So the only difference is you are not the method. If you are talking about method, it means that particular function is inside an object. Do you understand? That particular function is inside an object. And most of the time, that
Object.
is what we do. That is what we do. We always want to create an object. For example, I want to create an object for all students in a school. So I'll just name it students, right? Then I will have to create key pair values for individual student. So once you register from the front end, it saves inside an object. Do you understand? It saves inside an object. That is what I'm going to do. So let's try and declare an object. So we can just say let's have a car, right, to be equals to sorry, to be equals to this. So we have the attribute of that car. The brand is going to be Toyota, the model is Camry, and the year is 2020, right? And we can now you do another one called start function. So this is what we're going to have. So basically, we have all these things that are likely to what? Attributes. 1, 2, 3 attributes. Then this is the method we are talking about. This is called methods, right? This starts, right? You can see start is the what? The key. Then the attribute is the value is what? The function. So here I can just say since I already have a car and I want to connect with the function, I will just say car dot start function. Sorry. So we are calling the method the start method. Can you see? We are calling the start method. So if I do this, if I if I run this just the way it is right now, so you will see that Toyota Camry is starting. So what did I say? Then there is this particular thing I need to explain again. The this function, the this method, right? The this method is very, very, very important. It's called a constructor, right? To initialize it. So basically, we are trying to initialize our constructor. So this particular is called an instance of a class. Instance of a class. So right now, I'm going to explain it if I'm trying to explain or treat what's it called? OOP entirely in its own entirety, right? That is what I'm going to do right now. Right. So this particular D's dot model, blah 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 blah. I'm still going to explain them very well. So I can even just call, say, the car is starting. Let me just do it that way. Maybe that will make more sense. The car. You not see it very well the other time, so I should have just said the car is starting. All right, so this makes more sense. The car is starting. Yeah. So this now takes us to OOP itself, right? So I'm going to explain OOP. OOP is now a combination of everything that we've learned so far. So what is OOP? Like you said earlier, OOP is object programming Object-oriented programming, right? Object-oriented programming. That's the full meaning of OOP. OOP, object-oriented programming, right? Very, very important. So it's a way of structuring our program to use object and classes. To use object and classes. So let's talk about it. And how will what's then, since I talked about class, right? So what did I say? Object is a way of structuring our programs to structure a way to structure our program to use objects and classes, right? So the next thing is now, what is a class? A class is a blueprint for creating an object. A blueprint for creating an object. Please listen very well. Are you with me? Can you hear me? A
Yes,
class
sir.
is a blueprint for creating an object. So let's imagine, let me use this physical thing first, then I will use more physical thing as an example. The physical thing I'm going to use right now is an architectural drawing of creating or building a house, right? Before you can build a house, you must have the structure or the architectural drawing of that particular house, right? We have the structural drawing, we have the architectural drawing, the structural drawing, the electrical drawing, the mechanical drawing, all those drawings coupled into one, right? Called both architectural and structural drawing of the house. But most importantly, we want to see how the house will look like. We need what? The architectural drawing of the house. So we see the architectural drawing of that house as a class because it is a blueprint of creating the house, which is an object. Do you understand? No.
The architectural drawing,
Mhm.
that's the class because it's like the blueprint to follow to create to building the house.
Yeah, which means if I want to build another house of the same structure, right? I don't need to create any architectural drawing again. I can as well use the one I use in building the former to build the later. Abi, confused. I've confused you
Yes,
the more.
if you are doing the same structure somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you can use it as long as it's the same structure.
Yes, yes. Yes, 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 yes. I've confused you, Abi. It's confusing. So I now said object is an instance of a class, which means without a class, we cannot create an object. And without an object, a class cannot function. I've confused you the more, right?
Without an object, a class cannot function.
Yeah. And without
So
a
let
class, an object cannot be created. Okay. I've confused you, right?
I'm thinking about
No, 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 don't think too much.
relating it
Don't
to
think too much.
the
Don't think too
example you
much. Wait,
gave.
let me use another example now. Let me now use what I think you will understand better. Imagine we are in a kitchen. I'm sure you love cooking. I think one of your hobbies is cooking. Abby? No.
Yeah, well, depends on the kind of cooking, anyways.
Okay. Now imagine that you want to create or you want to prepare a cake, or say me, I like jakute. So
Me too.
you want to prepare, say, yogurt, and it's homemade yogurt with parfait and orishirishi inside it. Then if you now want to serve it, you now want to serve it with a dessert. So maybe
Oh,
that dessert might just be not too much sugary thing. Just a simple how will I put it now? Kinamangwe. Simple. Just give me an example of a dessert apart from cake.
eh, results are
Simple.
usually
Okay, let's say
sweet.
cake. Let's say cake. Let's say cake. Let's say cake. Let's say cake.
Okay.
Cake that is not no ice and sugar, nothing. Just um just the way it is, right? And yeah, that is all you want. You really want to prepare for me as my Oga is coming to visit me, and this is what I want to prepare for him, right? Before I intentionally use yogurt, parfait, and cake. Before you can create that, there is something you will need. What is that thing?
Ingredient.
Yeah, for you to get the ingredient, what will you will need to get the ingredient? Recipe.
Like a list. Okay, yeah, recipe. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Ah. So recipe is now a class. Because without the recipe, it's the recipe that will tell you the right amount of sugar to use, the right amount of flour, the right amount of baking soda,
Egg,
the right amount
yes,
of
baking
water,
powder.
the right amount of
Yeah.
if it's going to be milk,
Egg,
the right amount of milk,
milk.
the right amount of
Yes.
egg, and the mixing procedure.
Flavor, mixing.
The
Yes,
mixing,
yes.
is it
There's
clockwise? Is it
different.
anti-clockwise? How many minutes? How many seconds?
Mm.
Is a recipe that will give you, because if you want to create the exact thing that you like, or you've seen someone creating the best cake in Ibadan, or the best cake in Lagos, or the best cake in Alimosho, you want to understand the recipe of that particular person for you to get the exact state, the exact taste, and the exact result the person is making, right? So imagine that recipe as what? A class. Are we together?
Yes, sir. We're together.
Okay, makes sense. So that class is now being used to create a cake or the yogurt. So let's say cake now is the class that you will now use to create a cake. Yes or yes?
Yes, sir.
So, which means cake is now what?
Cake is now the object,
Ah, recipe is now what?
the class.
Okay. Can you create the cake without the recipe?
No.
And can the cake stand alone? Àbí báwo la ṣe sọ báyìí? And can the
And the recipe.
recipe work on its own without creating the cake? Or can the recipe function without the cake? Yeah, I think that's the right word to use. No, the recipe will be
Yeah.
useless if I'm not creating the
If
cake,
you
if
are
I'm
not
not
making a
making the cake.
cake.
So, which means they
Uh,
are all interwoven. So, which means they are both important. So, I need to create, which one do I need to create first before creating the other?
class.
Aha. Orí rẹ pé bí alájọsọmọlúwe. Do you understand the drift right now? Can you now
Yes,
see
sir.
how I'm trying as much as possible to make sure you get it right? So, if I now say an object is an instance of a class. You now understand it now.
Yes, sir.
So what do I mean by an instance of a class?
Will I say like is as a result of a class or something you come by using the class? I mean, what you have made use the class to make. Hey, Omo.
The result of a class. Abi?
Yeah, let's put it like that. Result.
Uh-huh. The result of a class. So let's try and define a class. So let's define a class. Since we already know that a class is what we think we get those things very well, right? So in a class, we are going to have what? Attributes, and we have what? Methods also. Do you understand it now? In a class, we have what?
Attribute.
Attributes,
Oh,
and we have what? Methods. So we are creating the class the exact way we did an object the other time. So let's start it. So if we are declaring a class, we start with class, right? So class person, right? Then inside the class person, we have what is called a constructor. Aha. A constructor is now a special method for initializing a new object. Right? So in Python makes this thing simple. I don't want to refer to Python. I always resist that urge to going back to Python anytime. I've always been mentioning Python, 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 Python. And why did I say Python? Is instead of using constructor that will become more confusing for people, Python is now using initialization function, init function, something like this. So I can tell you this is an
okay.
initialization function. So which means what does this mean? What does constructor mean? It is initializing a new object. So which means if this is not coming up, right? So it will always initialize a new object for you automatically. It helps a whole lot. If I don't use this constructor, if I'm going to call on this particular object I have here, I will still have to call on this particular class person first before I can do anything. But with this constructor, I can go ahead to call on this thing directly and nothing will happen. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. So it runs automatically when a new object is created. Without this constructor, it won't be able to run. I will have to call on this class person, then try as much as possible to do it very well. Again, right? Before I can call. But once a new class is declared, because of the use of constructor, it will run automatically, right? So, and that is what I think is very, very important to use. And that is why these Ds come to be. So, which means this dot name, right? So in Python, instead of using this, we use self. They are using words that we can easily relate to it, and also tells the exact meaning of what we are trying to do. So this is talking about yourself, like self.name, this.name. So the this there is talking about what? It's you yourself we are talking about, equals to name. It's you we are talking. So for example,
Okay.
this.fatty equals to fatty. You know, that's just what we are trying to talk about here. Because we already have an argument. Remember argument now, functions. When we are declaring functions, we have parameters. This is also called parameter or arguments, right? Do you understand? It's confusing.
Yes.
It's confusing, right?
I understand.
Eh?
I understand.
Are you sure?
So, like, it's as though a function where you
Yeah.
pass in a parameter,
Yeah.
and then you have the codes you want to run inside the curly braces, that kind of thing. But this time around, we are initializing a name and age for the what's it called, for the class
From the class called person,
person.
right?
Yes.
So like I said, this is now what? Attributes of this particular person. Are you following me? This is
That is, the name and the age are now the attribute of the person.
Yes. So we can now declare the method for this person. So what do you mean by method?
That's a function.
Yeah. So we can now declare a method called greet method, right? So what do we do here? We try as much as possible to greet this particular person. Say console.log, hello, my name is the name I'm going to put, right? Right? And I am this years old, right? So I'm going to end this particular code with another close curly braces, and that is done. So I can use this is I've been able to declare a class. This is a class now. This class cannot work on its own except I use it in an object. So how do I use it in an object? Is what I'm going to create an object. So let's create an object. Remember how to create an object? Let's go back to object.js.
So
Aha. So let's go get that. So we just create a new object by saying let's party equals new. This new is very, very important. It's also, how will I put it? A keyword. New person. So this is how to create a new object in JavaScript. So let me finish this with Fatima. Right? So this is a way of creating a new object in what? JavaScript. Please note these things very well. Please, please, and please. What we've been able to do now is to create an object. So which means that if I'm creating a new object and I'm using new, something needs to struck your mind. Oh, I've already created a class. Then I'm creating a new object to use that class. So which means if I don't create this, use this new, can you see that I'm using, what am I using to create a new class? A new object, sorry. What am I using to create this particular object?
the
The class
constructor,
person.
or is it
The
the
class
object? Okay,
person.
that the person.
The
Okay.
name, the object is Fati object. Get it right. Object is
Uh,
what? Fati, right? And I cannot create an object without the class. Remember your recipe and cake, right?
yes, sir.
Aha. So that is why I need to
Yes,
bring
sir.
down this particular class here. And this is it. Ṣó ti yé báyẹn? And don't forget, my
Yes, sir.
attribute has what? Two arguments, which is what?
Yes, sir.
Name and
The name and
age.
age.
So I'm saying the first one, which is name, is what? Fatima and 22. So if I now run this particular code now, so how will I run this now? It won't run. Why? Because how do we declare a new object? All right, how do we declare the new one? I will just come here and just do Fati dot greet function. This is calling that particular object. Fati dot greet object, right? So I can just call on this. You will see, hello, my name is Fatima and I'm 22 years old, because we need to call on
Okay.
this particular method.
Okay.
Can you see now?
Yes,
Because
sir.
I created a new object, I already have everything inside this particular person. Are you getting it? I already have everything
Yes.
I needed inside this person here. So this fatigue has what? The class person. Should you? So we are creating an
Yes, sir.
object of the person class, creating an instance of the person's class. So creating the result or an object of the person's class. You can also have another example. Say, so this time around, give me another name. Give me another name apart from Aisha. Eh?
Sumaya.
Ah, Maya, wow. Okay. I was expecting you to give me a male.
Okay.
Yeah, now.
Uh, Abdullah.
Wow. I was expecting you to give me something else apart from Abdullah.
Uh,
Yeah, now.
Simple name Zainab.
Okay. So we have another one. This is one. Okay, let's use another one. Um,
Mahim.
let's Aisha equals to new person Aisha 20. Yeah. Sumaya. I'm sure maybe Sumaya is there. Sha. Hope Sumaya will not be angry. Sumaya. Abi. Uh-huh. Then who else again?
Yes, sir.
Who else again?
Uh, Muhammad.
Muhammad. Okay. So let's check them out. So hello, my name is Fatima. I'm 22 years old. Hello, my name is Abdullah. I'm 25 years old. Hello, my name is Aisha. I'm 20 years old. Sumaya Muhammad.
Sumaya.
Ha. So that is how to create. So we've been able to create an instance of this particular object. Can you see now that we're able to
Yes,
do
sir.
this in a different way? Right. And there is something also you should observe. You would see that I have a dollar sign. So when do we use a
Yes.
dollar sign? We use a dollar sign if you are calling a JavaScript inside a string.
Okay.
We are calling a JavaScript object inside a string. We use what? A dollar sign. And don't forget, if you check the code, this is not quote. This is backtick.
Yes.
Is
I
like this.
can see.
Please note, and intention, you don't ask that question. You now be writing it and you say it's not working. Oh. I've been doing it since morning. It's not working at all. I don't know how you got your own. Aha. You did not ask that question at all. So it is backtick that you would use, right? Which is, I think that's key before one.
Yes, sir.
Aha, that is what you're going to use for that. I think I've been able to explain what constructors are. So I think the next is for us to be able to, how do we inherit a class? So we have child, children, we're talking about children, we're talking about child, but we do all those more in React. But let me explain what it means to inherit a class, right? How do we inherit a class? Very, very important. So let's do class inheritance. So class inheritance is a way of creating a new class based on an existing class. So inherit. So which means we have a parent class, right? And we have what? A child class.
Child class.
Please note them. I'm just trying to explain this. These things are not being explained in JavaScript that way. Oh. The way I've been doing it. I don't think if you are reading textbooks, I don't think someone will, I don't know, maybe you will get it that way, maybe, But I think most textbooks doesn't really put all this. I don't think they put child, they put children. You just see children. and you will see parents. You like, I was wrong. But you will see more of these things in React. And why I'm taking time to explain all this is because when we get to React, I believe we'll also treat React. When we get to React, these are things we'll be working with more. So once you see them, I wouldn't want you to be asking me questions as regards how it comes to be, right? So, and that is why I'm trying as much as possible to make sure we get it right now. It might be new to you right now, but I'm sure when we keep doing it, using it, you get to familiarize yourself with it, and you will know when to use it, when not to use it, how to use it, how not to use it, right? So, and these are things I believe we should work with. Right. So, yeah, inheritance is just like a way to create a new class based on an existing class. So we have an existing class, for example, person that has name and age. And I want to create a new class, maybe perhaps called male. Yes. Male, we also have what? Name, age. Then I can add gender. Are you following me? So I will now say I
Yes, sir.
want to inherit the class of person. Right? I want to inherit what? The class of person and use
Person.
that to create a new class called male. So inside male, I
Yes.
have the attribute and method of person, then a new one. Do you understand now? So if I now call that male class, I will have attribute and method of person, then the attribute and method of male all together. And that's how
Okay.
it works. Right? And how do we use that? We use the word extends to do that.
Extend.
Yeah. So I'm going to create a class called mail, right? Extends person. Are you getting me? So if you,
Yes, sir.
aha. So what is that thing that you see that is new here that you want me to explain? So you already understand what constructor is,
Yes, sir.
Abby? Then
But
what
there
is
is
the
something,
super?
there's super.
Yeah. Super is now calling the parent constructor. Who is the parent here now?
The person.
Aha. So it's calling what? The parent constructor, which is name and age. Don't forget here, inside my constructor in male, I have name, age, and beard length.
Be-
Yes, now. At
Okay.
least,
Okay.
ọkùnrin ló ní beard.
Abi.
It's relatable now. I'm using these. These are things, yeah, I'm just
Yes.
making fun out of it just for us to understand it better. I don't know. I don't know if it makes sense, but maybe I should be serious. Let me be using the example that they normally use in those books in those days. To become this thing, will I understand this thing like this? Yeah? I don't know. But I don't know. Abi, is it not your current that is having beard?
Yeah, yeah, I understand. Beard length and it varies.
Ah, do you understand now? So what does super
Yes.
does now?
It calls
The constructor
is it
of the parent class,
yeah,
which is the person, right? And what is the constructor of the parent class? Name
name and
and
age.
age. So the only thing that it is required now is what?
The
Beard
beard
length.
length.
So we can now see that the beard length, we can now use the constructor this dot beard length equals to beard length. Just the way we did for this dot name
For the
equals to
person.
name, this dot age equals to age. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the next thing is going to be what? Method. We have our new method. So we can say show beard. Abby? So I'm going to
So beard.
show beard, right? So
Okay.
we've been able to create a new class called name, male, right? Then
Yes.
we need to create an object, Abby.
Yes, sir.
So if you are creating an object called Ali, so we're going to do create name, Ali 28 and 5 centimeter.
Okay.
right? I can do ali.greet. So normally, where does greet method comes? Where do you have a
Greet
greet method?
method from person.
Yes, from person. On a normal day, do we need to have access to this greet method? No, because we have not really done anything here. But because we've been able to extend the person's class inside the mail class, the mail now has the attribute and method of persons.
Of, of person.
So I can now work with, it is the new class I created was what? Mail now. I use
Oh,
the
yes, sir.
mail recipe. If you want to, don't forget. I'm sure you will never forget recipe. I'm sure you've made cake before. Yeah, tell me, the first cake that
Very
you
well.
made, how does it go? It went well.
Sir?
The first cake you made, did it go well?
First cake. Ah,
It went
I'm trying
well.
to remember. I've made lots of cake. So, but
The
I
first
think I
one,
think it was not bad.
it was not bad, but people did not eat it well.
We ate it too.
Yeah.
Because I got measuring stuffs. So I
Okay.
measured them
Hey, so you
properly.
use the recipe, right? That is where I'm going.
Yes,
So now imagine you now want to make coconut cake. What is that thing that you add to the initial recipe?
coconut flakes or coconuts and desiccated coconut.
Yeah. So which means that coconut cake can be a new class, extending from what? The parent recipe.
Yeah, okay.
Do you understand? Which means that
I
I
see.
don't need to even do any other thing again. I already have my first class, right? The only thing I need to add what is what? Coconut flakes or coconut flavor or something that I need that will show this is a coconut cake, right?
Yes,
Do you
sir.
understand the drift now? So which means I can easily extend from the parent class. So the original cake recipe is the parent class, while the coconut cake recipe is not a child class. So once I extend it from it, I can easily get those things very well. So I can have this on a normal day. I shouldn't be able to, how will I put it? I, sh I should not be able to get this particular grid function here, but I was able to get it because I extend it in students. So let's see what this will show us. So this will show me everything. So the last two is what we are going to look at. Oh. Hello, my name is Ali and I'm 28 years old. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
And my
Then my
beard
bed
length
length
is
is five
5
10.
centimeters. Mhm, mhm. Okay, okay. Any questions so far?
No, sir.
Still confusing. Let's try that of
No,
Hassan.
sir. Sir?
Said, I'm trying that of Hassan.
Okay.
So I have Hassan, this, say show grid, show beard, and that is all. So I'm sure this will also work. So I have
Yeah.
that of Umar, blah, 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 and the like. So extend is trying to talk about the inheritance, while super is calling for the constructor. So I think with
Construct
this,
parent class.
yeah. I think with this now we should be able to get one or two things right, and we can get our things. So we can. I'm thinking maybe we should do one or two projects using vanilla JavaScript to get those projects done before we move to React. Or what do you think?
Yes, sir.
We should go to React straight up.
No, we should do some projects first so that it will be um more relatable.
Oh, okay, okay. So I think with this now we can call it a day. But before we go, I will give you an assignment. So maybe I should drop the assignment inside the chat box. Maybe you copy it in the chat box. So I'll give you like because I might forget. You know, the last time I said I will give you an assignment, you were the one reminding me. Right. So you create you create a teacher class with name, subjects, then with method this, that's one.
Teacher class.
Yes, don't worry, I'm typing it
All right, so
already. So I'm going to do that.